Safety has got to be one of the most important issues for my life. There was a safety in being in their presence. There was a safety in not being concerned with how I said whatever I said, but there was no kickouts. And so I think there was they offered me a security and a safety that I recognized from the very second I saw them, and that's why I was so drawn to them, because I had already gotten that before.
Yeah.
I had already had that before. When I grew up in Catholic school, I was very protected. I was teacher's pet day one, and probably continued that through all the way through. So I found, whereas most people found school challenging and, difficult in some senses, for me, that was the only safe environment I could figure out to go to.
What that made you get a master's in divinity, so from St. John's?
Well, Sister Mary Frances wrote my letter. She's a graduate of St. John's. She helped my family let my mother go so that my mother could die. And I found it to be a very moving experience. And I realized what she had done for us and what she had done for my mother.
What was your first impression of nuns? How'd you run into them? What'd you think?
I grew up Catholic, so I remember the day when my mother brought home my uniform. I was going to start first grade. I was so excited. I was so excited. Plaid skirt with a little red kind of a tie that snapped, and white blouse and a blue sweater. Boy, I tell you, I thought that I had died and gone to heaven. The Mass was said in Latin. I didn't know what they were saying, but it felt so important. It felt so. My mom, we came from a big family, and so it was an extension. I mean, my mother was taking me someplace, giving me to people that she trusted. I knew that it was an extension of home. And the priest at that time, priests still came to your house. It was such an honor. I'd come home and the priest would be sitting at the table.
Peeking out from behind that skirts of those nuns, you were telling me, and I was kind of struck by it.
Was my way of being able to look at the world, but still in the safety. Still having perfect safety, just peeking around her skirt. And I see her. I mean, I see it clearly. Her hand placed firmly on me while I peeked around her skirt to kind of look at the world. I mean, when I was growing up, I really truly believed that there was something I could do, and I didn't see any barriers preventing me from doing it. I really believed that if I worked hard in school and if I did the right thing, that I would immediately get a good job, that I could get a good place, that a house would be available, a car loan would be available. I never thought that there would be things that would prevent me from doing those things.
When a guy gets a felony, what does that do to the family, to him, to the environment around him?
Yeah, I think that that's an unfortunate situation that takes him totally out of any possibility. I mean, he no longer can't get a job. A woman can't marry a guy with a felony. If she does, she's foolish, because there's no place she can live. She can't bring him and put him on the lease because he's got a felony. That would exclude her from any place where she can live. So I've come to terms with who I am, the goods and the bads of who I am. I've got a lot of strength, but at the same time, I need to be toned down a little bit. I can be very, very opinionated about injustice, and so sometimes I might speak quite frankly and maybe even harshly about things that I think are not just.
I suspect you'll be knowing these women for the rest of your life, will you?
Oh, definitely. I mean, me and the sisters, we're joined at the hip at this point in time. I mean, 26 years, I think we're going 27 years of we're being in a relationship and always being concerned about making sure whatever I can do to be helpful. Me going to college has a lot to do with them. You know, me being able to finish has a lot to do with them. Just when somebody believes in you and they're 100% supportive of you, and they just always knew that you were going to do the right thing, and that's the kind of conversation that you're getting all the time, why wouldn't you be with them all the time? You would always go there to have them remind you of your better self.